Good morning and welcome. So I was asked to break down a pose called Thunderbolt, which is in the camel family, Ustrasana, if you care what the Sanskrit name is. This is Kylie. She is a lovely young woman who is just as beautiful inside as she is out. She's also very bendy. She has a dance background and she's very naturally flexible. The combination means that this is a very approachable pose for her, which is why I've brought her with me. We're going to start with camel and the variations of camel and work our way all the way down to Thunderbolt. So there's going to be stuff here that you may or may not need, but I promise we'll get there. Starting on your knees. If you have a blanket or a towel, I would recommend grabbing it. You're going to want the extra cushion under your knees. And I'm going to let her face that way so you can see the sideways view. You're going to begin by keeping your knees in line with your hips. You want them hip bone distance apart, so they're not squeezing together, but they're not super wide either. You want that narrow stance, just where you would put your feet if you're standing for mountain pose. And the first step, you want your toes tucked under. I would also recommend beginning with blocks, placing them right beside your ankles. And don't let them be on the blanket. If you find that your blanket is in the way, slide it out of the way so that the blocks are on the mat, just for stickiness and level. Okay. When you come back into a camel, you want to make sure that you're bringing both hands back at the same time. So our tendency is to try to do one. One may get there a tiny bit sooner, but your goal is to bring both back together. And the focus is not on bending and collapsing backwards. Believe it or not, the focus in a camel and Thunderbolt is to lift your body forward, to lift up. So, reaching your hands back simultaneously, place them on the blocks. Once you find that position, start to lengthen through the front of the body. Your head can come back, but don't let the neck collapse. And then push forward. Camel, a variation of camel. This is option one. You can stay right here. Go ahead and come on up. When you guys try this, you will find that back bends are leg day. This is all about quad strength and core strength in that lift. There's a lot of work happening here. Option two, set the blocks aside. You're going to do exactly the same pose, reaching back at the same time, but using your heels. So make sure that the toes are tucked and the heels are lifted for this first variation. Start to reach back with both hands, bringing them down onto your heels, and then again the same thing, lengthening through the front of the body and pulling forward. And rise on up. Option two. So for option three, everything stays the same. You simply untuck the toes. Taking the feet flat, your heels just dropped by about 3 to 4 inches. You're still reaching back for the heels. Going both hands at the same time, and then pulling the body forward. You guys can see the shift. Do that shift one more time if you don't mind. She reaches back for the heels and then presses forward. That's the length through the front body. This is the trick to any back bend. It's not actually about bending your spine. It's about stretching and lengthening the front half of the body. Okay, you can come up now because you've been there a while. Okay, so those are the options for camel. We're going to turn around for just a moment so that she can face the wall. There's actually, I said that wrong, so that you can be back to the wall. There we go. I know what I'm saying. So this variation, you do not want to be directly at the wall. In fact, I'm probably going to grab the camera and move it in just a minute. You want, in fact, I would scoot you, believe it or not, forward a little bit more. There we go. Okay. So, do you mind? Thank you. I have help today. My daughter's helping me. She's going to move the camera for me. Come around to that side so that you can see about like right where that blanket is. So we'll get that out of the way. We're looking for, and that's not going to work. We have to angle the whole thing down. Just pick it up. We may edit that piece out. Okay, so can you see the length of the space between the wall and her feet? You do not want to have your toes right against the wall. Your torso and your thighs are significantly longer than your calves, so you need that extra space. Bringing the arms up and overhead, reaching back behind you for the wall. There is a moment right here of trust where you have to trust that that wall is not going to move. Turn it a little tiny bit, there we go. And you can walk down the wall. If you have the flexibility, you can walk your hands all the way down to the baseboard. Starting here, this is one I would not do without someone else in the house who can then come like this and start to help you bring your body up so that you have a little support coming out of it. Okay, back to the original camera position. Thank you. I love when I have help. It makes this much easier. So that's a fourth variation. We're on 4, I think. I can count. So that's the fourth variation. We're going to come to Thunderbolt, which is the final variation. Again, if you've never done Thunderbolt, do not try it without someone there to help you get out of this. This is one that if you get down there, you can get stuck, and getting out of it does run the risk of blowing out a knee if you can't pull your body all the way up. Again, using quads and core strength to bring your body upright. So you're going to want your assistant to have a strap. Bring the strap around their waist, giving some support to that waist and low back. The only thing the strap is for is to pull. You're using this to support them as they go down and as they come back up. Toes are untucked, shins are flat, knees are still hip bone distance apart, legs are making railroad tracks. You are looking for a neutral foot here, a neutral leg, so you want your heels to be right behind your knees. Instead of bringing the arms up and over like we did at the wall, you're going to bring the hands down onto your calves. Ankles, just about where you'd be grabbing for camel, but slightly up so that you're on your actual leg. Then you will walk those hands forward, the goal being to have the hands right between the knees and calf. Okay, when you're ready, take a breath. Start to lean back, letting the hands reach the calves and walking them forward. Slowly lowering the body down, bringing the top of your head to the floor. This is Thunderbolt. At the moment, this strap is loose. I'm not holding her down or giving her any resistance. You notice the stretch and the arch through the front of her body, through the chest area. And on this next breath in, take a big deep breath and exhale. I am going to use the strap to help her lift as she walks her hands back up her legs. And that is Thunderbolt. Thank you, Kylie, for coming and helping me, because that is not a pose that I do at this point in my life. So I got some help. Thank you. You can stop it.